What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is your retro review for the Real Housewives of New Jersey, Season 3, Episode 8. So, child, hopefully we'll get caught up by the time the new season starts. We haven't gotten a start date yet, but it'll be sometime early 2024. Anyway, we're moving into the holidays. We see everybody setting up their house for Christmas. Jacqueline is going to have a Christmas party, Christmas party. And she is going to invite Melissa, Joe, and Teresa and Joe. She said, listen, they've made up, and, I think it's a good time to have them together, and so we can, sort of push this whole thing along a little bit. Now, her daughter, who y'all know I've given her a hard time over these past couple of seasons, but I'm kind of actually with her on this one. She was like, Mom, like, I think you probably need to mind your business on this one. Like, you might want to stay out of this one. Like, you might want to stand down. Okay, Ma, you might want to stand down. And Jacqueline is like, well, why? Like, I don't see what the problem is. They asked for, y'all, they asked for my help. And I'm like, but did they really ask for your help? Or did you sort of just decide you was going to facilitate the situation? Like, I don't remember them asking for your help. But okay. Then we see over at the Manzo's house again. They're setting the house up, and we find out that Ashley is Jacqueline's daughter. Carolyn's daughter is feeling some kind of way. She feels like she's losing touch with her brothers, that they're just not as close as they are anymore. And I realize in this episode why I love Carolyn so much. Okay, or Caroline. So, in the first scene, we see them getting the house together and moving the furniture around, getting ready to pull out the Christmas tree and stuff. And Lauren, that's her name, Lauren. And she said, Lauren has been acting like a real you-know-what, because she's been real funky now that her brothers are not here. She's been kind of, in this little funky mood. And she's been acting like a, boom, boom, boom. And we see Lauren and Jacqueline go over to the apartment to hang out with the guys. And Lauren sort of opens up and lets them know that she feels some kind of way about the fact that the brothers are sort of, they have these inside jokes, and they've had this whole life without her, and, that she used to be so close with them, but now she feels like she's not close with them anymore. She's really, really upset by the whole situation. And the brothers feel bad to the point where they give her a key. And they tell her, they say, listen, feel free to come over. I mean, call first, but feel free to come over. Like, we don't ever want you to feel like you're not a part of our life. We don't ever want you to feel like you're on the outside looking in, like you're our sister and we love you. So, but then we have this third scene where Carolyn comes over with Lauren, and they find out that they had like a whole party and they didn't invite Lauren. They didn't call Lauren. And Lauren is like, upset and saying, she feels left out. She feels like they're not, she's like, well, you could have invited me. And they were like, well, it takes you like an hour to get here. Like, it was spontaneous. It wasn't like we planned. It wasn't a party. It just sort of evolved. It just sort of happened. Well, you had time to cook. And they were like, we cook every day. We kind of do that. We need to eat. Well, you know what I mean? Like, you had time to cook. You had time to call me. And Caroline said, look, girl, you're being unreasonable. Like, at this point in the game, you got to understand that everybody has to grow up. And life changes. People evolve. Relationships change. And y'all are evolving. And that's it. She said, you're being unreasonable. She said, it's not like you're sitting up in your room and you don't have any friends and you don't have a life. Like, you absolutely have friends. You got a whole boyfriend. You do what you want to do. Why are they obligated to call and invite you every single time something is happening up here? That's just unreasonable. And I agree. But I also understand, as someone who had an older brother, I understand when you feel like I was never as close with my brother because they grew up like triplets, basically. I mean, there was a big age gap between me and my brother, but when my brother moved out of the house, there was a something there, But I understand where Carolyn is coming from too. She's like, girl, you are living your best life. Like, you are not sitting around waiting for your brothers to call. It's just not that serious. Now, while all of this is going on, over to the Gorga house, Melissa done invited these producers over and her songwriter, and she sort of auditions for them. And they said, listen, you got a little something, right? They said, I ain't gonna lie to you. You need to do some work. Your voices, you need some work. But you do have something there. And they said, so, we could probably work with you, getting a single together, whatever. But they say now, but understand that this is going to take a lot of time. Like, are you ready for that? Are you ready for that kind of commitment? Like, Dad, are you cool with her not being in the house? Like, are you cool with that? And, Joe was like, for how long? And they said, well, she may have 13-hour days while she's in the studio and stuff. And Joe was like, hold up. Now, she's the mother of 3. She's a wife. Like, I don't know about that. So Joe says, I tell you what. He said, the basement isn't finished. He said, what if I put a studio in the basement, a booth in the basement? Like, would y'all be able to come here and work? And then that way she could work on her single while she's still being, catering to my needs, right? And he takes them down in the basement and he shows them. And then we see him actually build it, like bringing in the wood and getting ready to start building the booth or whatever. So I thought that was cool that, he was actually here to really still try to make her dreams come true. We see Teresa and Joe having date night, which I think is cute. I feel like it was nice them having a date night with everything that they were going through with the bankruptcy and the lawsuit. Because we found out later on in the episode that the trial had started in the lawsuit. And, Joe tells Teresa, listen, I'm really sorry. I've made some mistakes with my business partner. I won't do it again. I've definitely learned from him, but, I'm sorry that I'm basically got our family in this situation. And Teresa tells him, don't worry about it. I hate that Teresa never wants to talk about anything because he really wanted to talk about what happened with his business partner. And she was like, I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about that. And I know part of it was not wanting to talk about it on camera. But I feel like that's who Teresa is as a person. When things make her uncomfortable, when things aren't good, she doesn't want to have the conversation, which is part of the reason why she can't resolve conflict, because she never wants to address anything that's negative. So, whatever. Kathy is still trying to get this restaurant. Now, they find a restaurant that they actually like, but come to find out, it's kind of more of a commitment than what they were expecting. It's a little bit more, it's a little more pricey. It's a little bit more than what they were kind of what they had in mind. And so they actually end up going to Albert and talking to Albert, Caroline's husband, about, because they say, listen, the brownstone is like the staple in our circle. So they want to talk to him about, really what it takes and whether this is something they should pursue and what it's going to look like. And he told them, he said, listen, let me tell you something. Your life is going to change as you know it. It's no way that you guys are going to keep maintaining what you have. It's not that easy. Like he said, I don't even know how my wife stuck with me all these years. Like a lesser woman would have left me, because you miss birthdays, you miss weddings, you miss things because you just can't leave. And, Carolyn talks about how he inherited the brownstone when he was 19. His father gave it to him when he was 19. And then like a couple of years later, his father died and sort of left him to figure it out on his own kind of thing. And, that happened with my sister. Like, for those of you who don't know, my sister is a chef. She's a trained chef. She went to school for it. She has a degree in culinary arts. And she actually worked as a chef for a long time. And she loves it. She loves cooking. She's done some great things. And she's served, she cooked for Michelle Obama. She's cooked for celebrities and stuff like that. So she's done it. But when the pandemic hit, she actually had gotten a promotion and lost her job all at the same time, because the restaurant was cutting back because who was going out to eat? Basically, the only thing open was takeout, and they didn't need as many people cooking. But it was kind of like, but we have this job we want you to take. As soon as this is over with, we have this job we want you to take. And of course, in the beginning, it was, it'll be 2 weeks. It'll be a month. It'll be 2 months. Nobody knew it was going to be a year and a half that we were going to kind of be in that holding pattern. And in the interim, the company that she worked for sort of hesitated on moving forward with the project that they wanted her to spearhead. So in the interim, she ended up getting another job, which has nothing to do with food. But guess what? It was kind of what she needed, because it is stable. Y'all, for those who don't know, my sister he's 6 now. But, she had a baby to think about, and the pandemic gave her an opportunity to see what life was like when she could be home at a set time and know when she was going to work. And she has missed holidays and birthdays, and she was always the wild card whenever there was something happening, well, let's see if she can come. Let's see if she has to work. You know, she's supposed to get off at 5, but she ends up having to stay till 12 because somebody called out. You know, it's a lot. So I understood what Albert was saying when he was like, listen, you think you're just going to have somebody working for you and you were just going to make recipes. That's not how this works. Like, it is a lot. And in the end, Albert told them, maybe you guys should just think about doing catering for a while. Getting your feet wet. See what that looks like. See how that works for you. You may never even really want to go into a brick and mortar. You may want to just do catering and make that your thing. Which was actually a really good, suggestion. Okay. All right, y'all. So then we have Jacqueline meeting up with Kim G. Look, we ain't seen Kim G in about 3 episodes, and I ain't missed her. I have not missed her. But anyway, Jacqueline is hanging out with Kim G. She said, look, I know Kim G and Teresa, they still got their little thing going on, but, I'm friends with who I want to be friends with. And, Teresa just have to deal with it. Kim G just have to deal with it. She tells us that, she had a brain tumor at one point, and so that she's like renovating her house because she didn't really have a chance to do the house the way she wanted to when she first moved in because she was, just getting over, being sick or what have you. Then she decides that she wants to try to start telling Jacqueline all the things that are being said about Teresa in the gossip. And Jacqueline was like, I don't want to hear it. And Kim G kept trying to tell her, and she was like, I don't want to hear it. Shut up. I mean, to the point where she finally told her, shut the fuck up. She was like, I don't want to hear it. Like, Teresa's my friend, and I don't want to hear the gossip. I don't want to hear what your friend's saying about her. I don't want to hear what nobody else is saying. Can you just shut up? And I felt like that was disrespectful on Kim's part, because when she said the first time, I don't want to hear it, you should have respected that and shut up. I mean, I get it. Kim G is messy. You were having a moment. You were filming a scene. I get it. But in the real world, that was just disrespectful. To the point where the woman got to tell you to shut the fuck up. And then Kim is going to say, oh, you're mad, aren't you? Well, why are you getting so mad? And she's grinning because she knows exactly what she's doing. And it's a whole thing. Well, we find out that the trial has started with Teresa, with Joe's business partner. And come to find out that Pam Catrone, I believe her name is Pamela Catrone or Monica Catrone. Monica Catrone. She is the wife of the attorney for Joe's ex-partner. And she actually was Kim G's guest at the Posh Fashion Show back at the beginning, a couple of episodes ago. So the plot thickened. So it wasn't just Kim G being messy going over to Melissa. You had with you the wife of the woman that's suing. Then she was like, oh, I'm suing Teresa. No, you're not suing Teresa. Your husband is suing Teresa. Actually, your husband is representing the man that's suing Teresa. She's talking about something. She doesn't know what I look like, so I don't want to make a scene. Girl, then you didn't have to say nothing. You didn't have to let nobody know who you were. If Teresa don't know what you look like, guess what? Don't none of us need to know what you look like. So then, Teresa actually went up to that woman in the middle of the courthouse and confronted her. Now, to hear Teresa tell the story, all I did was just, tell her who I was. But to hear Joe tell the story, you were going off on that woman to the point where he had to literally drag your ass out of there. So it was a lot. And Teresa, as always, was probably just doing too much and being extra. Okay. And like, girl, you got to control yourself. Like, y'all are in an actual courthouse. Like, girl, chop, control yourself. So, we over to Jacqueline's house for the Christmas party. And it was a little awkward at first. When Melissa and Joe first got there, it was a little awkward. But everybody, I think, ended up chilling or whatever. Joe Gorga was trying a little too hard to fit in and to get them to like him. But what I do realize now is that is just who he is, because he does the same thing now. Like, fast forward 10 years and he is still extra and doing too much. And then Teresa, although I think she was glad to see him and all of that, Teresa was uncomfortable, I think, with how much the Manzos and Jacqueline and them were actually enjoying Joe and Melissa. And it was so funny because Lauren actually clocked it. Lauren was like, Melissa is like a young Teresa. Like, they're the same person. She said, and you can tell that they have this silent fight over Joe. She said, but Teresa has to understand that the minute Joe said I do, he belongs to Melissa now. And that sums it all up, because that is the part Teresa can't deal with. The fact that he is no longer hers. Yes, he's going to always be your little brother, but he's not yours. Anyway, that was pretty much the episode, you guys. Let me know what you think. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.